Hello, welcome to Pure Heart Ministries YouTube channel, Evenings with Evangelist. I was supposed to record this yesterday, but I was at an event, and when I got in, I didn't, but I promise you, I'm going to get it done today. So, this is my YouTube channel where we talk about domestic violence and other topics if you request them, but today we want to talk about the effects of domestic violence has on women. The effects that domestic violence has on women. I'm going to give you several reasons or things that happen to women as a result of being in a relationship that involves domestic violence. And that relationship could be just someone, they go together. It could be a husband and wife. It could be a male and a male. It could be a female and a female. So any relationship that involves domestic violence, the things that I'm about to talk about could happen to anyone in those relationships. So the first thing I want to mention that has an effect on women of being in a relationship that involves domestic violence is that woman then becomes violent herself. Most of the times, people that are abused become abusers, especially if they don't get help, if they don't tell anyone, and then maybe if they stay in the relationship specifically. If they stay in it, then they become violent also. They may take it out on the kids when they're frustrated that the guy has gotten on her or has beaten her today for whatever reason or no reason. Then it ultimately can affect how she treats her kids. That's one reason. Another reason is that some women who are in domestic violence relationships, they try to take their own lives. And that's something that we do not want to happen. That's one of the reasons I'm putting this information out so people can be aware of how to deal with domestic violence, what things they can do, who to call, tell somebody, going to the courts, through resources, shelters, hotlines, any of those things, because we do not want anyone taking their own life because they are just tired and fed up of being in a relationship that involves domestic violence and they're getting beat, their children are getting beat, they don't know what to do, they don't want to tell anybody because they are ashamed. So at the end of the day, they feel like they have no other choice but to take their life to end it all. And if they do that and they have children, it's actually not over because you've left these children behind that has been damaged. Yes, if you kill yourself and leave the children behind, you have been damaged. I'm not saying kill yourself and kill them as well. I don't want no one to be killed. Hear me clearly. I don't want anyone to be killed. I don't want to hear of another statistic, another murder-suicide, another mother and her children. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear that you got out. So that's why I'm saying these things to you in hopes that you will call somebody or reach out to somebody that can help you. And I know it's hard to tell somebody your husband is beating you and y'all been together 10, 15, 20 years, 1 year, 6 months, or what the case may be. But it is very important that you tell someone and get help as soon as you can into the violence, as soon as you can into the violence. Once it has started, it's best that you, if you can, and I would urge you to do something about it early on, not let it linger, after a couple of episodes and after he's made up a number of times and that type of stuff. I don't want you to do that. I want you to get help now, right when it's fresh, when it first happens, when it's early on, because the longer you linger, the worse it's going to get. Okay? So the first one was women, they become violent themselves. The second reason was they attempt suicide. My third reason that has an effect on women who are in domestic violence relationships is that they turn to drugs. Yes, they turn to drugs to ease their pain. It could be alcohol, it could be pain pills, it could be the heroin, the crack, the cocaine, or whatever drug is out, but they turn to drugs to ease their pain. They just don't want to think about anything that has gone on. They want their mind clear. They just want to take it all away. And that's what they do to do that, although that doesn't cure the problem of the domestic violence in the situation. Because as long as you are still there, it's still going to happen. So I'm hoping that you would get some help and get out and do not do this to yourself, because that could be even more damaging than just going through the abuse itself. And I know some women have gone through some major things through their relationships with their domestic violence. And I'm not saying no level is better than the other. It's all domestic violence. But I know something has gone through so much that they probably felt like they don't even want to be here no more. Let's just mask the pain with something. Let me just drink my troubles away. But that does not help it. That does not solve the problem. Okay? That does not solve the problem. Call the 800 number, 1-800-799-7233. 1-800-799-SAFE. Okay? Let's get you connected to some resources, to some centers, to some advocacy, people that can work with you and help you build a plan to get out. I'm not saying get up today and just leave. You got a plan to get out, okay? But turning to drugs and things like that is another effect it has on women, okay? Our next effect is women often develop eating disorders when they're in domestic violence relationships. A lot of times the women are so scared and living on edge and on eggshells because they don't want to do anything wrong to piss him off, to make him mad. So sometimes they don't even eat because they're afraid. They're afraid. If you have one that he's really funny or particular about watching your weight, whether it goes up or whether it goes down, you may be scared to even eat around him because he may say, you're chewing too loud. You're smacking your mouth. You didn't wipe your mouth. You didn't cover your mouth or whatever, or say please when you said pass the salt. You just said give me the salt. It happens. Trust me, it happens, okay? So we want to keep that in mind, but we don't want to see our women with eating disorders. We want to see our women strong, healthy, and vibrant. That's what we want to see, okay? So ladies, please, please get some help. Reach out to somebody you can trust. Somebody you can trust. You need to have people in your circle that you can trust with your troubles. Went to an event yesterday and they spoke about that. Women being able to trust other women with their troubles. Can I trust you if I tell you my business? Can I trust you if I tell you I'm single, so I'm just using myself as an example? Can I trust you if I tell you my man is beating me, that the whole town is not going to know, but you're going to help me try to figure out how I can get some help through resources, through a shelter, through a transitional home, through the hotline or those type things, okay? We have to look out for one another. And I'm looking out for all those that are going through, even those that have been through and have come out, and you're still in the healing process. You still have questions. You don't understand. You still miss him. You still love him. Those are things that happen when you are in a domestic violence relationship, because even though someone can treat you bad, you still love that person. It doesn't take the love you have for them away because they treat you bad until a certain point. But in your healing process, you need to have somebody you can rely on. And I would hope that I could be that person for you, if not somebody else, or maybe somebody I can refer you to, your pastor, a mentor, a counselor, a number of those things. Get somebody that can give you some sound advice and guidance, okay? Get somebody that can give you some sound advice and guidance to help you get through your healing process. It's a long process. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. You can't expect you leave today and then tomorrow you're over him totally. It doesn't happen like that. Trust me. It does not happen like that. It's a process that you have to go through in your healing. Forgiveness, forgiving yourself, forgiving those that didn't help you, the ones that knew, because oftentimes we don't share with everyone what we're going through. So when we come out, people are shocked because now we're telling them this is what was going on, and they never knew all the while. And that's just something that we as women who have been in domestic violence situations go through. We tend to keep it to ourselves, because if he knew we're telling somebody, we're going to get in trouble for that. So we tend to keep it on the hush hush. Okay? But now I'm saying we need to stop that. We need to stop that so it doesn't keep continuing. I want you to talk to somebody. Find a support group online. If you call the hotline, they may be able to refer you to a support group, someone that you can call and talk to other women who have experienced the same thing you're going through. They can help you, walk with you, hold your hand step by step until you get to a good place in your healing where you can continue to move on in your life and get back where you should be as a queen. Okay? All right. Our next thing is some women who are in domestic violence relationships, an effect that it has on them is that they tend to abuse themselves. Yes, they tend to abuse themselves. Some women will cut their wrists. They will cut their arms, all up and down their arms, their legs, their thighs. And it's just not a good thing to do. Because at that point, when a woman is doing that, she feels like she has nowhere else to go. She's boxed in. Nobody can help her. Nobody understands what she's going through. This is what she thinks, the woman that's in it, that's harming her own self. She's self-mutilating. She's just trying to ease her pain. And that's the way she has to do it, because she has nobody to talk to. So we don't want women cutting yourselves up. You're beautiful. You're gorgeous. We want you to be happy and healthy. We don't want you all marked up and your arms cut. And God forbid that someone cut themselves too deep and it turns out to something fatal. We don't want that happening either. Okay? So no cutting, ladies. Get some help. Call someone. Talk to somebody. Use the resources that are available in your state. In every state, there should be a hotline. Well, the hotline is nationwide, but the hotline should be able to give you somewhere to call in your state for resources where you can get some help. Okay? All right. The next effect that domestic violence has on women is anxiety and depression. Anxiety and depression. After you have been in a domestic violence relationship and now you're out, you're trying to rebuild your life, you've gotten a new job, you've moved to a new location, you're getting your life on the road again to where it should be. Now you're starting to have flashbacks. You're thinking of times when he's done something to you. You may hear something and it may trigger something in you. Excuse me. It may trigger something in you to remind you of an instance where he abused you. And yes, that happens. Some women have nightmares. You have to go to counseling for it, to talk about it, to get it out. I think one of the best ways of healing almost from anything is talking about it. Once you talk about it and express how you feel, well, I was so angry, I couldn't understand why he did this to me. Nobody was there to help me. My family turned on me and things like that. Once you express that, you're letting all that anger and bitterness out. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's very positive for your healing. But at the same time, it can take you into a depression. It can take you down. Now I'm all alone. I don't have a husband anymore. My kid's father isn't around. He used to pay all the bills and do everything for us. Now that's changed. I have to do it. I don't make as much money as he used to make. That's okay, sister. That's okay, because you know what? As long as you have a job and you're making money, as women, we find ways to take care of our children. And even if you have to start over with less, I've done it. I've been there, done that. It's okay, because you know what? You can rebuild again. You can rebuild again. But depression, it's not good for us. It's not good, because it really can take us to a dark place we don't want to be in. We don't want to be in that dark place, and we shelter ourselves. We don't go nowhere but to work and to home. We stay in the house. We don't talk to nobody on the phone. We get scared when we go to the grocery store and things like that. We do not want to do that. I don't want you depressed. I want you happy, healthy, and whole. Okay? That's where I want you to be. Happy, healthy, and whole. So no anxiety, no depression. No depression, okay? We got to pull you up out of this thing. We got to pull you up out of it. Get some help. Talk to someone. You got somebody you can talk to. The person you think you can't talk to is probably the one you can talk to, and that will understand what you're going through even more so. I know it makes us feel ashamed to tell people you're being beat and things like that. You don't want people to know that. But at the same time, you got to do what you got to do. Okay? We want you to come out of this. So you have to get some help. You have to let somebody know so you don't go into anxiety and depression. Again, you will probably have nightmares or dreams depending on how long you endured. You may have flashbacks or things that will remind you of certain situations or instances of abuse, and that's okay, but you're going to get past that. Get you a journal and start writing. Start writing what you went through. This is a way to see that if you hear what I said, you went through, meaning you're over it now. You're out of it. You're out of it now. That was then. This is now. So you got to take the steps to get yourself together to say, that was in my past. Now I need to focus on my now. I need to focus on my now. Okay? We're not going to focus on what was, even though it has an effect on you. I understand that. I get that. But at the same time, we're going to work on moving forward in your life so that your life can be better and be what it should be. Okay? Another effect domestic violence has on women is poor social skills. Poor social skills. If you have that one, man, he doesn't allow you to go anywhere. You've cut your family off. You don't fraternize or mingle with people. You don't go out to parties, clubs, or whatever, cabarets, or whatever may be going on where you live or in your neighborhood. Your social skills drop dramatically. The only thing you're doing is going to work. And most of the time when you're at work, you're not just sitting around chilling with people, shooting the breeze and hanging out. You're there to work and get a paycheck. So you're not really interacting a lot. You are interacting with people, but not entirely a lot. So your social skills, you tend to be a loner after you've endured domestic violence, unless you could be someone that has endured and you have a big support system. Some people do. Not everybody do, but some people do. So if that is you, that person that has a big support system, that's good for you, and I'm glad. But for that one sister that doesn't have anybody, or maybe one person she can talk to, and then sometimes that person is not available all the time, she's going to kind of suffer in silence a little bit. But this is why I'm saying we need to speak up and speak out. Silence no more. Silence no more. Let's not keep it quiet. Let's not keep it hush-hush no more. Now it's time to talk about it. It's time to tell your side of the story. Okay? It's time to tell your story. It's time to get it out. It's time to start your healing process so you can be a better you. Okay? So this is going to wrap up our session for today with domestic violence. We were talking about the effects that domestic violence has on women. And some of the effects that we mentioned were they become violent themselves. They attempt suicide. They use drugs and alcohol. They abuse themselves. They self-mutilate and or they abuse their children or other people. Most of the time, abusers become abusers if they don't get help. And this is why a lot of men abuse women physically and sexually, because they've been abused and they haven't gotten help. They haven't told anyone and they feel ashamed, but something in their mind tells them they need to do this to others because they think it's okay because it happened to them and they didn't get any help or anything. So this is why we don't want the cycle to keep continuing. We need to break the cycle. Okay, we need to break the cycle. A lot of times we hear people say, well, this was in my family. This was in my family. We need to break the generational curses. We need to stop. It stops here. The buck stops here today. We're not going to carry it on. It's not going to be in my family. It's not going to be in my children or my children's children. That's why I'm giving you awareness and education on what things you can do to stop domestic violence. Okay? I hope you enjoyed the show. Please leave any comments down below. Subscribe to my channel. Turn on your notifications. So weekly, I do this every Saturday. You can be notified. If you have something you want me to talk about specifically, please leave me a message and I will do that for you. And as always, thank you for tuning in to Pure Heart Ministries YouTube channel, Evenings with Evangelist. I'm your host, Evangelist Patricia. And as always, keep your heart pure. Thank you and blessings.